Welcome to Eating Glass. We're your hosts, Cole.
And I'm Lucas.
We started a successful marketing agency at 16 years old.
And in this podcast, we and other entrepreneurs will talk about our mistakes in business and how to correctly avoid them.
So you don't have to eat glass like us. Welcome back, guys. In this episode, we're going to be interviewing Rob Ashworth, the owner of Pet Stop of Northern New England. We're going to be talking about his experiences, what he's learned, and what he can teach you. So stay tuned and enjoy the interview.
Let's get right into this.
Let's get into this.
We have a pretty broad question for you at first. It's just kind of throw it out there. We want to know, how did you get started? What was the first thing you did that got you to this position that you are in now?
As far as being a small business owner, is that kind of what you're saying? Generally speaking, I mean, I spent about 25 years sort of in management positions in the consumer goods industry. You know, I tell people, if you've been in a Home Depot, a Lowe's, a Walmart, you've seen products that I've sold in various industries.
Oh, interesting.
Always stuff you can pick up and use: electric heaters, portable grills and barbecuing tools, cleaning supplies, just, you know, anything you see at any of these stores and somewhere there's a company making it. I've kind of worked for a bunch of companies that do different things there. And I've always worked sort of in the product development and marketing side of things. But the nice thing with the companies I've worked for is that in product management, it's always been like you're sort of at the center of your product line that you manage. And so you get to sort of play around in the other sort of functions in your company. So you get involved in sales and marketing, you get involved in product development and engineering, you get involved in the logistics and supply chain, because ultimately it sort of falls on you whether your work was, you know, whether your product line did well and hit its numbers or not. So you had to be involved in it all, which was really cool because you can dip your toe into all these different, you know, functional groups and be involved. I did that for about 25 years. And then honestly, I think I did what a lot of people do. I turned 50. I had that sort of midlife, like, God, this is kind of getting old and tiring. I've always had an entrepreneurial mind. So, you know, I went to school, I got an MBA at Babson, which really focuses on new business development. So I've always had that in mind. And when I've worked for other companies, I've always told myself, oh, well, you're the owner of this particular category, even though it's not true. That's kind of how I looked at it. And I started looking for companies a few years ago when I got laid off from a company. I did a lot of due diligence and just educated myself on the whole process. I kind of poked around. I used there's a site called Biz Buy Sell. And basically it's like buying houses. You know, you go on, you read it, you inquire via email, and, you know, you can ask questions and learn about it. After a little while, I found one that sort of checked the boxes that I was interested in. Definitely interested in the pet industry. I was interested in kids and sports and things like that too. But this one came up. The price was right. The location was right. Most importantly, I think I discovered through my process that I don't think I had the patience and maybe not the knowledge or the energy to start from scratch. So there were a lot of franchises that were out there trying to get me to sign on. And that was like, oh, well, I have to develop my entire market myself. And it seemed a little bit overwhelming. So when this job came with Pet Stop, you know, it was sort of turnkey. You know, it was a business that had been successful for 20 plus years with a good following already, with a good customer base. And so it made sense to me because I kind of had it already. It was already there. So it was more a financial move for me, and then figuring out how I wanted to try to take what was already existing and then add my own flair and try to grow it, basically. And that's what kind of landed me here.
Well, I'm wondering, would you recommend to someone that's trying to start in business to go and buy a franchise or try to start something like themselves?
Franchises definitely have their benefits, right? I mean, right from the start, you have a format of how the business is run. You know, like you kind of have a footprint or a blueprint, if you will. so that you get some people behind you, you get some training, you have a brand name more often than not. I mean, you have a brand name already, so people hopefully know that brand, and it gets you in the door for conversation when you're trying to reach out to customers. My experience with franchises has been, for all the things that you get, you got to think about whether it's worth the price that you're paying, because franchises can be very expensive. And you get some franchises that hover over you with every single thing you do, and you can't. I always give the example. My wife's parents bought a franchise when they were younger, and it was a D'Angelo's, right? The sub shops, and they complained because they couldn't go out and buy a certain type of mustard that they liked.
Oh, really?
It was like forbidden.
Oh my God.
Because
that's ridiculous.
D'Angelo's had a very specific vendor list, supplier list, and that's all they could choose from. And this local mustard, from their neighborhood or where they were down in Florida, they couldn't go buy it. And not only couldn't they do it, like they weren't allowed to. You couldn't have it in the store. So that example always rings with me, because I always, I find myself kind of a creative guy. And I find myself a local guy. So it's like, if you want to tailor your business to who you are, you really are going to be handcuffed in many cases if you go the franchise route, because those franchises put a lot of effort into all the knowledge that they have and how they define their brand. And if you just kind of, go off a little bit on a side road there, they do not like it generally. And so I don't love the franchise route. If you have the ability to, purchase something that has other attributes that might be more important than just the brand you have.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. So you said you moved up from Florida, right?
Yeah, I had a short stint in.
So what made you want to move down there?
So I got a biology degree when I was at University of Colorado. And as strange as it seems, I ended up getting an internship down in Florida at a marine lab to do some continuing ed, which of course is crazy because you're about as far from the ocean in Colorado in the Rockies as you can get. But meanwhile, there was a lab down where my grandparents lived down in Sarasota, Florida, and I got an internship there working in the fisheries department. So it was kind of like doing fish population studies and learning about fish and doing some experiments in the lab and stuff like that. So I worked there for a little bit, and then I got a job in the fisheries department for the state of Florida doing similar stuff, because my internship, after a little while, I felt like I needed to actually make some money.
Yeah.
And so I worked for the state for a little bit, which didn't make me any money, but at least it gave me a paycheck. I was down in Florida for about a year, and then, really wanted to get back to New England because I love New England, and I wasn't a big fan of Florida. So I left Florida after about a year, but on the plus side, I met my wife down there. So I dragged her up from Florida up to New England, and that's where we are. So something very good did come out of that trip down there.
You dragged her from the heat to the freezing cold.
Well, yeah. She originally grew up in New York, so she knows what it was like. But she had been down in Florida for a few years, so it's like once you live down there for a few years, you very quickly forget, what it's like up north. So we moved up, and I always remember it was the year we moved up. We were there for like 3 weeks. It was like in late April, and we got one of those pummeling snowstorms in like late April, and she was looking at me like, what the hell, you dragged me up to this? And I'm like, it doesn't always do this is kind of weird. But yeah, that was the greeting that she got, was a like 1.5 feet or 2 feet of snow in April. She was a little pissed at me at that point.
We haven't had many snowstorms recently. It's been pretty weird.
Quiet, very quiet. Yep.
Yeah, I personally love it in the snow. I think too. Lucas does too. We go and snowmobile up in northern Maine every once in a while. We're gonna go there this February.
Yep.
And have you gone up there? It's awesome.
I've been up in lots of different places in Maine before. Where do you guys go?
Moosehead Lake?
Yep.
Yeah, so
right up there.
Yeah.
My grandparents have a cabin on there.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have like 2 snowmobiles. So
nice. That is the essence of winter in New England. That's why we're here, right? That's why we're here.
It's in the middle of nowhere though, so like you have one restaurant. The nearest town.
It is nowhere.
Is like 45 minutes away.
Oh yeah, out in the woods.
And like literally when you're driving down the roads to get to the place, the snow piles 8 feet high on the snowbanks. It's insane.
It's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, you can't even see.
Well, keep us...
that sounds wonderful to me. It sounds like a great place to totally check out and disconnect.
For sure. But I'll keep us on track here. We don't have all the time in the world, although I would love to talk more about the snow.
Sure.
So why don't we talk about what does your day-to-day look like working as the owner of this company?
It's kind of a split. I'd say my primary job day to day, what I love to do and what I'd love to do more of is I go out on the road and I visit prospective customers and do quotes for them. So they call into our office or use our website to put in an inquiry for a quote. And I make a point to go visit everyone. It's important when I do quotes because I have to sort of see what the property is all about to give an accurate quote. But most importantly, I like to be in front of people and I like to be in front of dog owners and get them a comfort level with who we are. And that's important from a competitive standpoint because some of the other companies in this business, they'll just go online and do a Zoom call or they'll make a phone call. They'll never meet the person. They'll never see the property. They'll never meet the dog. You know, and my personality it's just such that I'm kind of at home when I'm at someone else's house, and there are a couple dogs around. You know, I'm in my place. So people see my personality come out, I think, really well when that happens. You know, I get on the ground and roll around with strange dogs that, you know, and owners are appalled that their dogs are licking my face or drooling on me, and I'm just like, no, this is great. This is what I love. And so people get a comfort level with me. So doing quotes is really important. That's the start of our business. When I'm not doing quotes, I'm usually in the office and I'm usually managing a variety of different things. You know, I have to manage my finances pretty tightly. Cash flow is always really important in businesses like mine because, you know, we're not a huge cash business. We don't have a lot of income. So we have to really watch it. So I spend a lot of time doing that. Lots of paperwork. You know, the monotony of the office is sort of managing the schedule, managing my team. You know, I have a team of 6 people that work for me and they all do different things. You know, I have 4 guys that are out in the field doing the work. I have 2 women in the office as office managers, and they all have different personalities and they sometimes clash in what they're trying to accomplish. So I'm sort of the one person here who can kind of speak to everyone and talk to everyone and just make sure I'm managing everyone right and being sensitive to their needs and taking care of them. And then I spend time marketing. I mean, that's the other main thing I do is I try to find opportunities to market. You know, I do posting on Google. I try to think of different couponing programs. I try to find ways to reach out to all my customers and just keep the communication open. That takes up a lot of time because, you know, everyone's always busy with their lives. They forget that I was at their house a week ago and, you know, because suddenly they've got 20 other things going on. So I have to do a good job keeping up with them and sending reminders and just checking in and following up. There's a lot of work to do there to make sure that those people end up closing with us. Ultimately, that's important. So, I mean, that's kind of my day to day. It changes every day, you know, like I could spend a day out for doing 4 quotes in a day and never make it to the office. Other days I'll be in the office all day. And sometimes I have to just sort of stop and think and say, what do I need to do today? And sometimes there's not a ton of stuff to do, but that's good because I can just stop and think and try to plan for what's next. And that's what led me down the path of this potential purchase that I'm doing.
Awesome. I'm guessing all your management experience has helped a lot, right?
It's helped a lot, actually. I mean, the big thing is when I was working for other companies, I was sort of in that classic, I don't know, upper middle management. So I usually had a team of like 5 or 6 people working for me. And I have a pretty distinct management style. And I think the people I've worked for in the past have sort of liked it and appreciated it. So I'd always look at the executive management team and sort of scratch my head as to what the heck they were doing and what were they thinking. Do they even know what we little people and then the people that work for me are even doing? So I'd always kind of question that, and I always had a way of doing things. The challenge when I went to go buy my own business and then run my own business is, am I going to stay true to myself as far as how I am as a marketing manager? Because now it's mine. Now it's okay. Well, maybe I see what some of the executive team were looking at and how they do things, but I've been kind of pleased to check myself and see that I've been pretty true to how I've always managed. I'm pretty open. I speak my mind. I'm pretty transparent, and I think I'm pretty giving. So I understand how people are motivated. What gets them going, what keeps them happy, and I know how to manage crisis, which is always important because we have crises all the time in our office. None of them that are going to cause the earth to blow up or anything, but things that can affect our customers and ultimately affect our business. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So would you say that, like, if you were going to give someone one piece of advice on what to learn and put most of their energy towards when learning the skills to be a business owner, what would that be?
People. It'd be people skills, because everything else can get learned. You can learn finance, you can learn marketing, but people skills to me is the most important thing. If you're owning a business, you have to be the face of your business, and you can't knock on some stranger's door to go try to sell and have no clue how to deal with people. I mean, I could go in there I can go into a house with no business knowledge, with no idea what my business is. But if I go in and I'm smiling and I'm able to read who the person is, who my potential customer is, and be flexible in how my personality is with that person and know how to treat people, then I can sell anything, because they're gonna trust who I am right from the start. And at the same time, when you're managing a team, you have to manage people. If you can't manage a team of 5 or 6 people who come from different backgrounds, who all have different personalities, if you can't manage them, your business will explode, and you can have the next greatest thing in the world that you can sell. But if you can't manage the people between your customers, your team, and your suppliers, then you're screwed. You really can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've seen it over and over and over again, where you just shake your head and say that person's not going to be able to make it, because you try to have a basic, simple conversation, and you can see the smoke coming out of the person's head, and they just want to jump up and scream, and you're like, okay, well that's not the way people like to be treated. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's sort of to me the most important thing. Everything else is kind of stuff that you can learn, but you got to have it kind of deep down a little bit in how you deal with people, and not everyone has that. And that's why really smart people fail at businesses, because they just don't. They have all the X's and O's, but they don't understand the personalities.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the saying, contacts turn into contracts and the only difference is the relationship? The R?
No, contact and contract. Very good. No, I've not heard that before, but I like that. I like that saying. Yeah. Yeah. It's very true.
So I'm wondering, you said you had like a little crisis at 50. Is that what inspired you to really get into your own business?
I think it was a culmination of a whole bunch of stuff going on. No, my age had nothing to do with it. I like to joke about that. No, my age didn't have anything to do with it. Honestly, the thing that really probably did it, I got a job at a company, good company, and I was just sort of disenfranchised with how things were run there. And it just sort of pounded me, where the work that I was doing, it was much more it was a much more stressful environment, just the culture of the company. And I didn't see the need for it to be so stressful. Like it shouldn't have had to been run that way. And so, honestly, my wife kind of said, dude, you seem kind of stressed here now. And I'm generally not the type of guy that gets overly stressed. I'm pretty laid back, sometimes to a fault. But I was coming home, with smoke coming out of the head and just wanting to like just bury myself. And my wife was like, you don't need this. Why don't you start looking into something else? And she kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit to go do it. And that's kind of why I did it. And we were just at that age where our kids were getting closer to being out of the house because they're that old. And my wife and I were like, well, what's the next thing here? We don't have to do what we're doing forever. And that's what kind of got me there. It was during COVID, so I was at home a lot. I was able to find time, in between stuff to just start doing some due diligence and look around, and do some reading, like I went to the library and took books out on, like buying businesses and things like that. And I found it pretty enjoyable. And basically the change that happened is my wife would see me like reading up on something and like see a light in my eyes. And she'd be like, you look really excited. What are you looking at? And, I'd tell her, oh, I'm looking at this, kids sports complex, looks really cool. And, it's an indoor soccer thing. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, get at it. Let's look at it. So, having that support was really helpful, but really it was just a matter of being burnt out from corporate consumer goods, all that sort of stuff. I just got tired of it and it was time to move on.
Yeah. You wanted more control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, having a little more control and just having something that I truly enjoy. I always say that the work that I had done before, even though we sell consumer goods at all the other companies I've worked for, I never sold to one consumer in my life. I was always in front of a Walmart buyer, right? Or a Home Depot buyer, or all these people from corporate big businesses. And I was so far removed from who the end consumer was. It was a disconnect as far as what I liked. I like talking to the end consumer. I like saying, what's in your life that you could use? How could we help you out with a new product or whatever? But I never even got that far. I was just selling to a buyer at a large company. And so I didn't get to really enjoy it. It was always a more stressful thing because I couldn't bring it down to sort of the consumer level.
I can see how that can be frustrating, especially for a people person like yourself. I mean, that's just how you operate, right? I can resonate with that personally.
Yeah, it was kind of like, you'd be in front of a buyer and there was all this pressure to like close things and sell it in. And it was just sort of kissing ass to a buyer constantly. And consumers don't necessarily need to have their asses kissed. They just want someone who can show them something interesting and do it in a nice way without, having to sort of do it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So as we are running out of time here, I am just going to actually ask you a question I have been thinking about for a while here. And this is different for every person we talk to.
Sure.
If you had $1 million, what is the one item you would spend it on? Doesn't have to take up the whole million. It can be a Snickers bar if you want. It doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, one item.
I can tell you the only thing I'm thinking about spending on right now is a house.
Full-on house? What kind of house?
I want to move somewhere closer to the coast because my wife and I still have our marine biology in our hearts. And we love the ocean and we love the water. So unfortunately, you're going to have to bump that up to about $3 million for it to get anywhere near the coast in New England, of course.
That's right.
But $1 million at least would help put a little bit of a down payment on what that goes for. But I know that's kind of a crappy answer because it's such an obvious, like, big picture thing. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing that we're looking to do. Way too logical. I'll back that down. If I had $1 million that you would just want to give me, the first thing I do is buy a decent boat. That's much more within reason.
What kind of boat?
Yeah, I don't need anything too large. I just want something that I can take either to lakes, rivers, or into the ocean so we can go fishing.
I'm going to be honest with you. That sounds like a pontoon to me. That's what I would take.
No, I will not get a pontoon. If you're in the ocean, that thing just gets crumpled.
That's
in the
fair.
ocean.
I always use it on a lake, you know?
Yeah, lake.
I've never
yes.
brought anything on the ocean, so
Yeah, so I grew up on the ocean, and so I was always out on the boat in the ocean, and so I need something that's got a little bit of seaworthiness to it, and I need something that I can fish on, so a larger whaler or something, just a simple 22 foot something, and then we can get on the water, and my wife can outfish me like she always does.
So you're a big fisherman?
I've been there.
Yeah, we enjoy fishing. We do a lot of fishing when we get a chance.
I think I've only
good spots you can.
Unfortunately, our favorite spots are all south or in the Caribbean somewhere.
Gotcha.
Up here, it's a little bit harder. It's just harder to access. But we love Newburyport area, and we've been around Plum Island area. Good striper fishing up there, and
love Plum Island. That's a great place to go.
Yeah, good spot. So.
Yeah.
I think I've only caught like maybe 2 fish in my whole life, and that was with the support of someone that knew how to fish.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yep. What's your best fishing technique that you could give me?
Some advice, let's say.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, my abilities as a fisherman are not nearly as good as the enjoyment I get out of it, and maybe that's why my wife outfishes me every time. But I like to be like, my ultimate thing is to be in water that is about 2.5 to 3 feet deep, and I can walk and look for fish that I see in the water and cast to them. And usually, unfortunately, that means I have to be somewhere in the Caribbean where we're on these like flats in places where the water's like 85 degrees, and you can see fish, from standing up under the water. So that's what I love to do. I like to fish them that way.
If you want a little bit of advice, I don't know if you've gone here before, but St. Lucia, that's the place for it.
Never been. My parents have been there. They've been there back in the day. They loved it. And my wife and I just haven't gotten there. We've been to other areas down that neck of the woods, but not St. Lucia yet.
Gotta try it out. It's my favorite Caribbean island, easily. Yeah.
I've never gone to the Caribbean, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about here.
Cole, you gotta
catch up, man.
You gotta get out.
I've gone to Tahiti though. I went to Tahiti earlier.
That's close enough.
Nice. That's on our list. How'd you like that?
It was actually very surprising. The main island of Tahiti is completely covered in trash and graffiti.
Yes.
I was very surprised when I got there and saw all that.
Yeah.
But once you get to like Bora Bora and all the other islands, they're very nice, especially Bora Bora. That's where all the
it's a classic
bungalows are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic third world country that is so beautiful that there are places that are first world, and that's where tourists like you go.
Yeah, I went on a cruise down there.
Nice.
And we went to like a couple different islands. It was awesome.
That's cool.
Absolutely wonderful place, Tahiti. I've seen plenty of vacation spots down there for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The resorts are always so nice, but you go on any like maybe 5 miles outside of the resort, and it's a different world. Yeah. That's the same with any Caribbean island, though.
Yeah, it's true with a lot of them. Yep.
Besides the Dominican Republic, that place isn't too bad, but it's technically part of the U.S. So.
Yeah, Dominican Republic. It's got its nice spots, but it's got its scary spots too. I know that.
So does the U.S. So I mean,
yes,
that's true for anywhere.
Yes, it does, without a doubt.
That's the charm.
There was this awesome tour guide I had in Moorea in Tahiti. If you go down there, you need to like book that tour. I think it was on. I don't know. I forget what tour site it was on, but the guy was awesome. He actually brought us to all the like spots only the locals would go. So like there's this hidden waterfall because he knows his way around the island, And he also brought us to his house. And
so that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
House or shack?
It is kind of like a mixture.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really have like houses like us. There,
right.
Mm-hmm. Only the owners of the resorts have houses.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's a big fisherman, and he was fishing with his friend early in the day, and they caught a nice tuna that morning, and we had that for lunch. It was so good. Oh my God.
That is awesome. I've done that, and I've eaten it right at the boat where they bring like soy sauce, and you just kind of cut it open, and it's like fresh sushi.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Very good.
Yeah.
He made us a very, like, their local dish, their famous dish. I forget the name of it, but it was basically raw tuna that they cooked with lime juice.
Yep.
And then like 6 coconuts worth of fresh coconut milk.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds pretty good.
I would die for coconut milk. That stuff gets me
Right
through.
off the tree.
Good
like-
stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah. Love all the talk about the Caribbean as well, but we are actually just cutting the edge of our time here.
Sure.
So, just a few other words. Thank you so much for coming. Do you want to actually plug any of your social media? The name of your business, of course. That way people can search you up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, we're Pet Stop of Northern New England. That's the name of our company. Our website is dogfencenh.com. I'd say, yeah, I mean, kind of our story. I'm learning more about the web marketing. We have a Facebook page. I don't do too much activity on it, but we're trying to grow it. And I think when this new purchase comes in of this other company, I think it'll give me it'll be a good opportunity for me to do a little bit more and try to get it all together, because I really have to do some good marketing in that territory since no one knows we exist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to be right there with you, Rob. So we look forward to seeing you grow more and getting more adjusted to your industry. And I'm sure you have a bright future ahead of you. And you're always welcome back here anytime to eat glass with us. It's always fun. So
the name of our podcast.
Absolutely. Anytime you guys want to chat, anytime you need some help with anything, I'm around. Like I said, guys, I have about 25 plus years of business experience. You guys already know 100 times more when it comes to web marketing than I do. Obviously, you guys really know your stuff. And on top of it, you're young and motivated. So you're able to learn and you're motivated to learn. Once you get to my age, it's really hard to motivate to learn new stuff. And so we count on people like you guys. But yeah, we should definitely keep in touch. And if you guys ever have any ideas or need any help or any thoughts, you're always welcome to call and just, bounce something off of me if there's anything I can help you out with. Or if you need any contacts anywhere, I'd be glad to share. I mean, it's fun working with you guys, and you guys impress me a lot. You guys buttoned up.
Thank you.
I know what I was doing when I was a junior in high school, and it was nothing like what you guys are doing. And I think that's pretty cool. You guys should be really proud of yourselves.
Yeah, thank you. I'm flattered. That was very nice of you.
Yeah.
But it's great seeing you here. And Cole, do you have any other words you want to mention?
Yeah, let all your friends know about the podcast.
Yeah. I've been thinking about adding a blog onto my site. I just got to make sure I can actually keep up and do stuff and post semi-reasonable, interesting things. And my parent company can help out with that a little bit because they do it for some of the other dealers. But if you're able to sort of send me over, this thing, that'd be great. I could load it up, and I'm sure that gets eyeballs on your stuff too.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Hope you have a great day, Rob.
All right. Take care, guys. See ya.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for seeing you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Hey guys, hope you guys enjoyed the interview. That was definitely fun talking to Rob. Definitely learned a few interesting things about not only his personal life, but his business life. And I hope everybody got some good tips. Stay tuned for our next episode. As of the release, we released 3 episodes. This is the second in the series. Go ahead and click play on the next one. It's only around 30 minutes. So take your time, and I hope you guys enjoy that one. But before you go, I just wanted to mention once more, there are currently canned food drives going on all around the country for low-income families. I have on my desk here a couple of cranberry sauce, just canned goods, a general brand that I got from my local supermarket, and I'm going to be donating them to just, a local canned food drive. I recommend you guys go out there, spend a couple of dollars. It won't really affect you, but it will really, really improve somebody's Thanksgiving, just getting them this tiny bit of food. So go out there, make a difference, and I hope you all have a great day. This has been Eating Glass with Quantec, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful time. See you in the next episode. I'm Lucas.
I'm Cole.
Have a great day.